All right. So, like, if you watch my channel, you know, like, I've been rewatching Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now, I can't, like, occasionally a day or two out of the week, I can, like, marathon a good chunk of it, excuse me. But, you know, I had to watch, like, 2 episodes here, go do something, 3 episodes there, 1 episode there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really have a whole lot of time to always sit down and marathon it. But, my tummy's been a little upset the last few days. So, I was trying to get out this morning, but, yeah, my stomach had other plans. But, still, I mean, I'm still getting that done this week no matter what. It's not, I mean, it doesn't really matter what day I go in, you know, but I was trying to get it done today, but yeah, I had to map things out, and because where I live, you can live in the same city, but it can, even by car, it would take you 30 minutes to get there. You know, which in a, you know, public transport, it will take 2 hours. So yeah, that means tomorrow morning I have to get up and be out of here by 6:30, because it takes a minute to walk down to the bus stop. It takes about half an hour. Because I live on the very, very outskirts of the city, and I don't live in the hood. I live right outside the hood, but like, you walk a couple miles down the road, and yeah, I mean, it's the hood. I mean, it is the hood of this city, and this city's, yeah, it's a nasty hood. It's a real nasty hood. We don't live in the hood, but we're like just a couple mile walk down the road from it. And I mean, it is the hood. So, I mean, it's not my first experience with the ghetto, but we don't really live in the ghetto. We live in the hood outside the ghetto. But our neighborhood's pretty quiet. I've never really heard anything crazy or had anything crazy really go down here. Not very much. If anything comes by, it's an ambulance. But for the most part, yeah, we don't really have, like, you know, cop cars in the neighborhood every night, flashing lights, somebody getting arrested, doors being beaten down. But, like, you know, asshole, he was at the bus stop and yesterday and getting ready to go to work, or I think he was on his way to work, and the cops, and that bus stop is like right at the start of the ghetto. And that whole area is real ghetto, and yeah, and it's a big, there's like a big grocery, a Winn-Dixie there, a Dollar General there, some other places around there, and yeah, so it's that's where the ghetto starts, because, you know, that's where a lot of shopping areas are. And it's a little bit before that, but yeah, I mean, that's right where like the edge of the ghetto, where it begins. And he was sitting at the bus stop, and the cops flying by and asking him if somebody ran by shooting, because there was a shooting yesterday morning. You know, and it's just like, it was just down the road from us. But yeah, we don't really get a whole lot of that here in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood's pretty quiet. But yeah, I mean, just a mile down the road, mile and a half down the road, and I mean, it's a whole other world. It's really bad. So yeah, but our neighborhood's really quiet. I mean, it's mostly just, you know, people chilling. Um, but yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm just, am I out to like make best friends with my neighbors or anything? He does. He's like really close. Like, he has a couple friends in the neighborhood. His like, probably his closest friend is like right across the street. He goes over there every night. That's where he hangs out. Usually, um, that's like, I would say that's probably his best friend, you know, right now. Um, but am I going out of my way to be super neighborly? He has another friend down the street that comes by all the time. I'll sit and chat with him. He's nice. He's a friendly guy. But for the most part, not really. You know, just I mind my business and I leave other people to theirs. For the most part. I mean, I if somebody says hi to me or talks to me, I'll be friendly. You know, I'm not gonna be like, "What the fuck you want, motherfucker?" You know, we are far from living in that kind of area. But yeah, don't get me wrong, those areas exist. Like if you're living in a certain kind of area, like where I was living at with Raider, we were living in a really rough area. Like we had gunshots outside our house, outside our apartment many times. One of the more notorious fights we were having, he was sleeping in one bedroom, I was sleeping in the other, and somebody shot somebody 3 times right outside our window. Like we were on the top floor, they were on the bottom floor right outside our window. And I hopped up out of bed and ran into bed with him. Even though we were like in the middle of fighting like crazy. Because I mean, you know, when it comes to something like that, it's a whole other perspective, it's a whole other thing. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you live in a neighborhood like that, if somebody's coming up to you and talk to you, you're just like, what the fuck you want? Because you have to be. That's just the nature of that neighborhood, you know, that type of neighborhood. You know, and you know, like when you go down there, like that bus stop and that grocery store and everything, you know, I mean, you can kind of tell, you know, some people you can tell if they're straight or not, and you can be halfway friendly. Other people, you just be like, what the fuck you want? You know, but pretty much. But you know, that's nothing I haven't dealt with for years, especially since my divorce. You know, I have to live where I can afford, and you know, that's not always like, you know, the upper end of any city. I mean, it's not always the worst either, but probably the nicest house and the nicest area I've ever lived would probably be, I've had some nice houses here. I'm having I don't normally struggle as bad with jobs here, you know, so that's what I'm saying. Like I'm really, really getting annoyed. Like I'm at a breaking point with the annoyance about how I'm being done. Like to the point where I've started like cease and desisting former employers. They need to go the fuck away and stay the fuck away and never come back. Like there is no chance we're ever going to be anything. And they don't get to like run around behind my back, you know, slandering the shit out of me, you know, skewing the entire situation and forgetting everything they put me through and said and did to me. Because you know what? People don't get to that place for nothing. And I feel like people are being willfully ignorant about things. Because, you know, somebody doesn't get there for nothing. I mean, and that's just the truth of the matter. You know, nobody gets to that angry of a place with somebody over nothing usually. I mean, that's really rare. You have to be like legit crazy. Hold on. Where the hell? Getting all these weird plans or weird phone calls, excuse me. But regardless, you know, Yeah, I mean, unless you're just like a legit crazy person, and I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but I'm not. I can be crazy, but who can't? Um, but like a for real legit crazy person, and it just goes to show like how many people are naive and in a bubble about what an actual crazy person really is. And you have to be legit some type of crazy to be that angry at somebody unprovoked, that or you're on drugs. So yeah, I mean, people didn't like, people forgot the old adage, as old as time, there's two sides to every story. And, that's just the reality. And it's just like, you don't get to follow me around and harass me everywhere I go. That is not how that works. And see, that's why I have to start taking legal action. I start sending out cease and desist and things like that. So, and it's not something I want to do. I don't want it to get to that place. It's just like, can we not be adults? Can you control yourself? Can you be an adult and control yourself and not send me crazy emails about box cutters and send me texts about bank accounts I don't even have from a prior employer just to poke at me? Because it's just like, it's in writing now. So like, you can't, and after everything else you've all said and done, I mean, come off of it, man. Like, just come way off of it. Like, somebody really does need to bring you back down to earth. Because like, the reality is, it's just like, I have spent years of my life off and on, not as much the last 10 years, but I have spent a good chunk of time, especially during COVID, working manufacturing, and the reality is there, I can easily steel toe up and box cutter up. It's just as easy as anybody else. And, I'm just not really in the mood to hear a bunch of like wannabe shady assholes, and about a bunch of shit like that. I don't care. And I don't have a box cutters because I'm trying to be shady and try to like campaign speech people and be that kind of way. I have one because I genuinely have to use it for work when I'm manufacturing. So, and it comes in handy around the house too, to open things, or cut something precisely. It does come in handy. It's a very valid tool for a toolbox. But yeah, I mean, I just, it's just baffling to me because you're coming at me about some very weird, very specific things, and it's just like, this has been my whole life for 20 plus years. It's clear to me it really is a lot of talky in Milwaukee. And it's just like, y'all are talking a lot of smack that your butt's writing checks that or your mouth's writing checks that your ass can't cash. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel about Eminem when he made the speech, as I felt like his mouth was writing a check that his ass couldn't cash. If we're really getting into it, and that's fine, but I mean, I don't really start in with people that I know if I start in with them too much, I'll be in over my head. You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying I won't try to make a point, or if I feel some type of way, or try to anything, but yeah, I won't start in some type of way with somebody like lawyers. I would never like come at them with the fucking box cutter, or that mentality, I should say. Even though easily I could. That's insane. I wouldn't go after another paralegal that way, because there's a lot of paralegals out there. We know just as much as any lawyer sometimes. So, I mean, for real. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, I would never be like in a box cutter mentality towards those types of people. So it's really baffling to me when somebody comes at me that way. So, because I would never like go up to Moneybags and be like, box cutters, Moneybags, gonna get you. I mean, I've been frustrated with things about like towards him, but I've never been like, I'm gonna murder everybody with a box cutter. Now he does know about my plans to murder Dustin in great detail, but that's different. Dustin has that one coming. Really angry. Yeah, been angry for a decade, but he hurt my feelings. He really did. I mean, he really hurt me. Like, because it's just like, I've known Dustin at this point for 30 years. We met each other 30 years ago. I was about 12. And he was 12, 13 as well. And I've known Dustin for 30 years. And 20 years of that, I thought we were friends, And for him to, like, throw 20 years of friendship down the drain the way he did because he wanted to be a stubborn, petty asshole. I mean, I don't know what to tell anybody about that kind of pain. That's a really painful thing to go through, because I thought he was there for me. And he was a chicken shit, passive aggressive little chicken shit in the end. And, yeah. So, I mean, like, my beef with Dustin is real. It's very real. And he fucked up. I'm not saying I'm an angel. I'm just saying he fucked up bad. He did some really fucked up shit. He fucked up our friendship. It was his actions that fucked up our friendship. And it's just like, if that's how you really felt about me for 20 years, then why did you bother with me at all? Like, for real, why did you bother around my life at all? Really, though. Because that's not a way for anybody to come to realize how people really feel about them. Because trust me, people did not act that way towards me. And it's not that I wasn't oblivious to like little digs and slight comments, but everybody does that to everybody at some point. You know what I mean? And everybody has bad days, everybody has weird moments. So, I can't be like, oh, they made a dig at me. Conspiracy theory. They've always hated me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, it's going from 0 to 180. And, it's just like, that's extreme. But the thing is like, the irony of it is I should have. I should have seen all people's little digs and all the rest of it as the conspiracy. They all hate me. That it really was. I don't know why. Because I didn't do anything to anybody. Not really. I mean, I've really, like, hammered at Dustin. You're damn right. You don't mess with somebody's marriage and life the way he did and make it all public on a website the way he did and not expect shit to be coming back at you. I mean, talk about your head in the clouds. Literally. It's on SoundCloud. He's literally head in the clouds. You know, and it's just like, you know, you got a whole lot to say about me for, you know, living in your glass house there, buddy. For real. And it's just like, and he's literally Dr. Rockwell. It's just like, and what is the adage? What is the little analogy? What's the little saying? Those who live in glass houses should not throw rocks. And what did he do? Throw rocks. Literally throw rocks. It's just baffling. And he's a fucking junkie. He is. He's a fucking junkie. He's been in a fucking weed coma for fucking 30 years. And it's just like, you know, people could sit your ass down and tell you some truth about yourself as well. Like, for starters, my ex-husband, we barely made $30,000 a year for like the first 4 years of our marriage. For real. You know, we get a lot of benefits with the military and things like that to kind of even things out, but still, that's not a lot of money. So if anybody thinks I married him for money, you're way out of your mind. I could have like stayed with my parents and went, you know, stayed working, and, you know, I could have asked my dad for anything under the sun and I would have had it. Pretty much. But, which being married was not the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, my parents gave me money for Christmas and birthdays and occasional help out, but, you know, it wasn't me living off mommy and daddy. You know, I haven't lived off my parents in a very long time. I can't say the same for my sisters. And like this asshole, you know, I mean, he makes decent money, you know, it's okay. But, you know, I'm definitely not with him for money. That's for damn sure. No, it's not a money situation at all. Right now, it's like trying not to kill each other right now, for the most part. But no, I mean, I've never dated anybody seriously ever. Or I've never dated anybody for money, ever. So, I mean, that's insane. Seriously. And it's just like, I don't know, Dustin, you know, your sister's husband, he's a little, like, spoiled rich boy, and daddy owns a company, and he works at said company, and they're driving around in Porsches and stuff, and your sister lives in a nice big fancy house because her husband's rich from his rich dad. So, I mean, you know, who's the gold digger for real, though? I'm just saying. I mean, project much? So, I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, she... I mean, I know she works and things like that, but I mean, I don't think she nearly brings in the income that her husband does from his family. This is Dustin's sister, Sakaya. And Sakaya, I mean, I know she makes money, but it's nothing compared to what her husband makes with his family and his family's company. And, you know, I mean, she's a very, very, very attractive woman. She's super tall, naturally thin, blonde, natural blonde. You know, she looks like a little, like a real life Barbie doll. But her husband is not, he's not unattractive. You know, he's a normal looking guy, but he is definitely not in the same level in terms of attractiveness with Sakaya. You know, like, I mean, she's like, if she really played her cards right, she could have been a model when she was 20. You know what I mean? Like, she could have been a serious model. I mean, Dustin and Sakaya are both freakish in that way. I'll give them that. They're both naturally gorgeous. They're both like 6 feet tall, natural blondes, naturally thin, and naturally just supermodel. And um, they really are. They really are like that. It's freaky. Both of them. And I don't know what they look like anymore, but I mean, I wouldn't say too much has changed. It just look older. But I don't know. It's just like you can't be talking about money like that when your sister's the way she's in, because she clearly married for money a little bit. I don't care what anybody says. She married for money a little bit. And that's fine. I don't judge anybody for it, but it's just like, don't you be that way and then come at everybody else about it. Like, fuck off. Yeah, sweetie, I really don't care about how anybody else feels, especially when you're, running around my career fields, you know, you really don't know what you're talking about. And this is like a really good example of sticking to your day job. You worry about what you do. I'll worry about what I do. And that's the end of it. And yeah, like, I mean, I do have my family and stuff like that added on my protection order against Raider and some other things. They are still my family. Are they allowed in my life? No. Like, especially my sisters, especially Whitney. I'm really just not interested in my sisters being in my life. They're toxic. And I'm not saying I was always a perfect angel of a sister, but I mean, that's siblings. Siblings fight, siblings do stupid, petty shit towards each other. It's part of growing up. I'm just saying, compared to what they did to me, I did nothing close to the level of hurt to them that they did to me. And they were way over the line, especially Whitney. Courtney was way over the line in the fact that she just ignored me going through something awful and pretended like I didn't exist. And it's just like, well, I mean, and she copies a lot of things I do, and that gets kind of weird because it's just like, you don't want to speak to me, you don't want to have a relationship with me, but you want to take everything that I am interested in and make it all about you. So, I mean, and it's just like, you're not gone off me. It's nothing like that. You all are just being assholes. And they're the types to be like, I don't need therapy, or the therapist is wrong. And, I left therapy because the therapist started siding with somebody else, or, and it's just like, well, I mean, I've had therapists say some really difficult things to me, and I even admitted to therapist once. I was just like, yeah, you said something to me that really got under my skin, and I almost quit, but I decided not to and come back. And, I admitted to her that, she hurt my feelings, and that I almost didn't come back because she hurt my feelings. And the thing, it was something simple, I don't even know if she realized that she hurt my feelings. But, I told her about it, and, I mean, that's the whole point of therapy. So, I mean, trust me, my sisters are not that self-reflective or self-aware about themselves, even kind of. They're in my family. My sisters especially are definitely not the most self-reflective, self-aware people. I find that to be kind of like an endemic thing within America itself. And it's just like, that's like me getting on a video and trying to pretend like I hadn't gained weight, because I clearly have. I've clearly gained weight. And, like, yeah, I gained weight. I got hit by a car, and I don't know if anybody realizes that, but when your bad hip, you already have a bad hip, and your bad hip gets hit by a car, you're down for a minute. And, I'm not 20. I don't have the metabolism of a 20-year-old. I'm 42 going on 43. So when you're laying in bed trying to heal your leg and your hip, Yeah, you gain weight. It's just part of it. I'm pretty sure I'm perimenopausal. I mean, my periods are all out of whack, and it's just part of it. So, and apparently that perimenopause makes you very moody. So, I'm extra. But, do they try to relate to me about that? Do they try to empathize with me about those feelings? No. They'll just demonize me, and they'll just be like, oh, and then they'll go on Facebook, oh, I'm perimenopausal, I'm moody today, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm moody, I'm the devil. I can't be moody. Only they can be. And anybody else that's moody, they're a mirage. And it's just like that. The world does not revolve around you. And, I spent a long time having to parent my little sister when I was still a kid myself, pretty much. And so I was parenting myself and my sister. And it turned out in the end, she was just an ungrateful little asshat about it all. She didn't care. She didn't care about what I sacrificed and what I gave up. So I can make sure she graduated high school and make sure she got into college and all the rest of it. Because I graduated high school and then I started supporting myself. And then I had an apartment and then I had to have 2 jobs and then. And, mom and dad have been on pill benders for a minute. So, I mean, we can't say we didn't see it coming. Not that an 18-year-old girl should have to see that coming, and I got that. That's why I let her live with me. That's why I took care of her. But, my little sister prides herself on her husband, Andrew, being the only man she's ever dated, really, or had sex with. And there was one other person for a brief while when her and Andrew broke up, but her and Andrew got back together not long after. That didn't last very long. And, she prides herself on being like, I've only been with 2 guys, blah, 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 and I've been with Andrew for a zillion years, ever since I was like 17, and blah, blah, blah. And our first kiss was on the beach on a lightning storm during vacation, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, great. But, that's all image, because like the reality is you all earned money how you did, and you brought kids into it how you did. And that's the reality. And you all act all holier now because you only dated each other. And it's just like, you get how naive that makes you too, though. And I think a lot of the reason why she dated Andrew and stayed with them is because, one, he was willing to accept and take on my dad's stuff. 2, I really think she thought, this is the best looking guy I'm ever going to get. And she had a lot of insecurity about her weight. Because Courtney and I, when I was 20, I was really thin. I was naturally thin. And so was my older sister. And, everybody gets thicker with age. But, Whitney was always a bigger girl, And, she was always a bigger, thicker girl, and, even if she would have been thin at 20, she would have still been a very, very, very muscular female. So, but she ended up gaining a lot of weight. She's always been very heavy set. And I mean, did I make fun of her when we were younger? Yeah. Of course I did, I mean, I was a teenager, and we would get in some nasty fights, and it was a nasty family situation anyways, and she would go for low blows, and it's just like, well, if you're going to cut me, I'm going to cut you. So, I mean, that's how sisters fight, especially in teenagers. You say some really nasty, hateful things, but, You know, do I really care that much anymore? Not really. You know, if somebody goes real low with me, will I go real low back? Yeah. But I mean, I'm not going there till you go there with me. Um, you know, and it's just like you can't be going low with people and then expect nobody to ever clap back on you and say, have something to say. I mean, that's just la la land. You know, and if you keep, you know, fucking people over and fucking people around, eventually more than one person's going to have something to say to your ass about how, how you're really seen. Because it's just like, I don't know, some of you, the outside's matching the inside. Not always, I get that, but, you know, some, for a few of you, you know, it's clearly the outside's matching the inside. It's not great. But yeah, I mean, my sisters, I mean, I'll protect them because they're my sisters and I don't need another headache and them being like, your ex-boyfriend showed up and messed around and blah, 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 and we hate you even more. And it's just like, you know what? No, you're on the restraining order. That way, you know, you can't play ignorant. You can't play victim. You know, all you gotta do is call the sheriffs and be like, listen, got my sister has this restraining order. It gets this crazy. You know, do your thing. So, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. You know, it's just trying to give myself less of a headache in case he does snap and try to be around my family. Also, it's a legal measure because, like, my family can be vindictive and weird in that way. And if, in case my sisters try to talk to him behind my back, trying to be like, oh, hi, Raider, you're cute, blah, blah, blah. We hate our sister too, you know, but it's just like, you really want to be associated with that for real, though? Like, that's not a good look. I'm sorry, but it's just like, I don't know, maybe take a marketing class, maybe take a public relations class. Maybe people really need to do that because, you know, in terms of PR and public relations and the rest, you're not coming off great at all. So I don't know, maybe try that. And yeah, I mean, I just don't really care about people that are like, that are just so openly and brazenly shady. You know what I mean? Like, I get everybody's a little shady sometimes. It happens. It's part of life. But, I mean, they don't stop. They don't let up. They never stop about being shady. They're always in their feelings. It's just feelings. And it's suffocating. You know, it's just like, just shut the fuck up. So it's just like, I mean, I just don't care about your feelings to that degree, you know, and usually with the shady person, somebody playing on shady feelings are quite unhinged usually. And it's just like, you know, yeah, that's not great. I'm sorry, but for Eminem to call anybody a psychopath with his work over the years, that is beyond hypocritical. I mean, the motherfucker is completely lacking self-awareness, self-reflection, and has no idea how he comes off. So, I mean, because, I mean, everything he says about women and life in general sounds like the rantings of a psychopath. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And, you know, just, you know, and that's what a psychopath would do. I'm not the psycho, even though I'm running around screaming about box cutters on everybody's ass. You're the psycho. Okay, dude. Yeah, whatever you need to tell yourself, man. You need some serious medication. So, yeah. Listen, I don't know if he's like that in real life. Something tells me probably because he's still at it after like 30 years. You know, he definitely hasn't grown as a person. If anything, all he's done now is develop a fucking complex that he's God, which is really stupid. Yeah, go into an ER and tell a doctor that you think you're God. I'll see you in a week after your psych ward visit. For real, that's what they'll do with you. They'll be like, okay, you're delusional, so we're going to put you in the psych ward. And you'll be there for a week. And you'll be put on crazy medication. That's the reality of that. I mean, I'm just being real with you. I mean, if I dare you, if you really feel like you're God, for real, go into the ER and tell a doctor that you think you're God. I'll see you in a week after your psych ward visit, and you'll be on antipsychotic medication. So, and he keeps talking about metaphors and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, just shut the fuck up. For real. And there was that period where he was coming out with an album like every 2 weeks. He had like 5 albums in the span of 2 years or 2 or 3 years or some crazy shit. And it's just like, just shut the fuck up. So, yeah. I mean, everybody wants to talk about what's real, and that's real, right? Or are you serious about real and, truth and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, that's a two-way street, babe. Because I promise you haven't been perfect your whole life. And it's just like, I didn't realize I had to be perfect. I've struggled with years with perfectionism, like wanting things in my life to look perfect and be perfect. But I mean, I'm aware still that, life isn't perfect and I'll never be perfect. I mean, I'm not nearly as bad as I used to be, but I did really have some serious struggles back in the day with perfectionism. Now, like with work and stuff, I want my work to be not perfect, but I want it, because that's not real, but I want it to be damn near, I want it to be really good. But, in terms of like real regular life, I'm not looking for perfection. I just want normal anymore. But, it's just like, it was like when I heard all these crazy mixes and all this crazy shit, it's just like, I didn't know I had to be perfect for you to love me. I didn't know I had to be a perfect person for you to like me or love me, because look in the mirror, baby, you ain't. Sorry, but you just aren't. And anybody running around trying to tell you that you're perfect, they're the ones probably likely using you, because they're trying to get something out of you, because I am not going to tell you you're perfect. And trust me, when Dustin and everybody did all that shit, I was just like, do you even like realize what like a crazy, insane asshole you sound like right now? Because you sound like an insane, crazy asshole. Maybe because you are. After so long, maybe you just are. And, my family, especially my sisters, were more than happy to ride along to that. And it's just like, you forgot about your family, and there's serious repercussions to that, because I didn't forget about my family forgot about me, and that's the reality of that. And it's just like, you banked it all in your 30s when you felt good at 30, and you acted like the day would never come that you would ever need me for anything or want me around for anything, or you thought the day would never come that friends turn their back on you, and because they can't really fully understand our parents, and they're not gonna go and see dad and he's high on pain medication because he's paralyzed, and then he starts ranting, or he starts some crazy rant that dad has, and not a lot of people can handle that kind of rant from dad. And it's just like, You know, the only people you got around for that are me or Whitney, or me or Courtney. And it's just like, you know what? You washed your hands of me. I don't have to fuck with it. You know, I mean, I'll do my part, you know, like, I really don't want people going around harassing my dad in a nursing home. That's insane. You know, because if you did something like that to him, he would start ranting like my dad rants, and nobody wants that. And, you know, I really don't want, and that's what I'm just saying, you know, I take legal protective measures to save myself a headache. Because I'm not going to stop writing just because people can't handle, you know, because it's not my problem. At the same time, I get that people can't handle, and it might blow back on my family some. And I mean, I don't know what to tell people. Get a grip. Like, just get a grip. Like, seriously, everybody. But yeah, I mean, my sisters burned the bridge here. My family burned the bridge here. Like, I'm just not really super interested. You know, I mean, I'm not like completely disinterested in all my family, but I mean, it's definitely arm's length, you know. And if they really wanted a relationship with me, that would be some very, very, very serious baby steps. I'm not willing to like just jump in feet first into the family swimming pool anymore. That's just not anything I'm about, because I swim just fine. So, yeah, and they just played it all like, you know, they played me for the villain, they played me for the bad guy. And it's just like, you know, man, I am not pretending I'm some angel, but if we start, you know, comparing apples to oranges about what you all put me through and vice versa, you all are tenfold way worse what you put me through. I mean, and my sisters, don't get me wrong, I miss my sisters. I miss my family. Of course I do. Because, I mean, not all of it was a Greek tragedy. You know, there was a lot of happier times. It was when we were younger. You know, anything past the age of like 25, 24, after I got married. You know, 23, 24, that's when things in my family really just started getting really bad. Definitely by 20, but 23 was when things really took a downhill. And I was getting married anyways and going off to Japan, you know. And, you know, my little sister would play it like I just left her. She was in Louisville. My parents were still in Tennessee. My parents lived in Tennessee for over 20 years. You know, I lived in Tennessee for years. So did my sister. But no, she was up in Louisville when I got married and living her own life, going to college. And my parents were in Tennessee. I didn't just leave Whitney with mom and dad and she was just, you know, waiting on them hand and foot. You know, she was still very much had her own life. How her life got screwed up is because of her. And did she get punished for it? No, she didn't. She got a new house. She got a new car. She got a whole bunch of new furniture. She got all kinds of stuff. You know, and then when I needed my family to rally around me, I got nothing. I got everything taken away from me. So, I mean, they have to realize that's a bridge that they can't build back. You know, I mean, they're still my family. You know, if anybody's going to murder them, it's me. But for real, though, I mean, well, kind of. But, I mean, like, seriously, though, like, I mean, I don't mind going out of my way to like, legally protect them from some shitheads that have come into my life since, you know, because it's just like, you're not my family. You know, you've been in my life for what, a year? And I'm almost, you know, at the time with Raider, you know, I was like 40. I was going on 40. She's like, you've been in my life for a year. and I'm going on 40. So when you're out of 40 and you're behaving like this, later, bye, see ya. So, yeah, that's kind of how it is. And, because it's just like I never did anything to him to instigate the crazy he put me through. You know, and like, yeah, sure, if I charged at him with like a fucking butcher knife, sure, you know, swing away, baby. But that was far from the case. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just people have no sense of like reality or perspective or context. You know, like, sure, if I was like seriously coming at somebody with a weapon, or vice versa, somebody's coming up with you, yeah, pound away. You know, beat their ass. I get it. But just trying to be like a normal person, you know, and just randomly start attacking somebody and hitting them out of nowhere. He sucker punched me. He sucker punched me a few times. That's fucked up. Raider is a manipulative, evil piece of shit. And, you know, I'm done talking about him. I try not to talk about him or think about him anymore. Like, he's just taken up so much of my life the past 4 years, especially the last 3 years since it all happened. And it's just like, I'm so done of thinking about him, talking about him. I do not give a fuck about him. He was a fucking asshole, a psychotic asshole, and he was. And it doesn't seem like much has changed. But my family, you know, they're my family. And it's just like, yeah, I'll go out of my way to legally protect them from psychotic assholes like him. But, yeah, I mean, it ends there. You know, they burned the bridge. They're not building it back. I have no interest in any of them, especially my sisters or their spouses or their boyfriends or whatever they got going on. I mean, honestly, I think Whitney should divorce Andrew. Andrew's an awful person, from what I can gather. Yeah, so I never really agreed with her marrying him anyways. But I mean, you know, I don't make the decisions in her adult life and vice versa. You know, I think her marrying Andrew was a big mistake. I don't know how they are now. From what I can see, my sister, last time I spoke to her, the last few times, she's still a little cunt. She's a little fucking bitch, man. And she still wants to play victim to all this crazy shit that she caused. She helped cause. You know, she had a big hand in a lot of shit. And she's just nothing but a crazy little bitch. And, you know, like, I warn people to a degree about my family. And it's just like, listen, you know, anymore I do. You know, before, I didn't think I had to. Because I didn't think people were... I never messed around with anybody I knew's family behind their back, really. So I didn't really expect people to do that to me. But I guess they did. I don't know. And it's just like, listen, if you play in that fire, you're going to get burned. You know, I that's why I do the legal protections, because they'll find a way to blame me. And it's just like, and that's another thing. It's just like, I'm done being their punching bag. They can fuck off and go away now. I don't know how my sisters feel. Like I said, you know, I talked to my little sister occasionally the last year, once or a few times. And when I have talked to her, she's always a little bitch. She's always a little hateful, crazy bitch. She doesn't even understand how she fucks herself legally. Because she thinks she's smart in accounting. She thinks she's smart in certain things intellectually. That means she makes the mistake that she's smart about everything intellectually. And it's just like, you clearly don't understand law. You clearly don't understand how law works. You clearly don't understand how somebody builds a case. Fucking shut up already. And Yeah, I mean, I had to put a cease and desist on her, and that's still valid. Yeah, I mean, I still feel that way. Absolutely. And I really hope a lawyer is sitting on her saying, shut the fuck up, leave her alone. And I really hope lawyers at that prior workplace, shut the fuck up, leave her alone. And some of the other cease and desist I've sent out, shut the fuck up, leave her alone. Because the next step, because she'll use this to bring up a lawsuit. So that makes everything she brought up in the cease and desist admissible in court. And looking for evidence to prove what she's alleging. So that makes anything I would ask of the court, as long as if I bring up a lawsuit with the cease and desist, and anything I brought up in the cease and desist, that's admissible in court automatically. And any way of going to collect evidence to prove that in court, I can do. So, I mean, it's just like, go away already. And I have some more cease and desist to push out. It's depressing to process because it's not like I'm banging out a legal cease and desist for a lawyer for one of their clients and I'm not emotionally involved. That's a whole other ball game. This is my family, man. This is like some deep personal shit that I'm having to talk about and rehash and bring back up. And it's, just basically scratching wounds. But I have to, because if I don't, they will pour salt in the wound. But no, my family's not welcome in my life. The only person I would welcome back for my intermediate family is my dad, because he's on his deathbed. But he has to apologize to me first. He's the parent. I didn't make him have me. And I'm not saying I was a perfect little kid, but I definitely wasn't some like crazy little drug addict doing a bunch of crazy shit. He was the drug addict doing crazy shit. So, I mean, it's just like, I didn't make you have me. At some point, you had to come to that reality. So if he wants to apologize, I will tolerate my dad back in my life, in a real way. And I'll make a point to go see him. But other than that, I really have no desire to see my sisters. None. It sucks because I miss my sister so bad. Like, I really do. I miss 20 years ago, and marathoning Sex and the City or some HBO show, Sopranos or whatever, or some other show that we love to watch, and cooking and hanging out or going to the movies, or just having fun, and going shopping, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I miss that with my sisters and my family. I really do. But those days are gone and they're not coming back. And that's sad. I wish they hadn't left. I wish we could still do things like that. And I did bring it up to my sister. The last time I brought it up to her was a year ago. I thought maybe I'll go up for my birthday and go up to Louisville, and my sister and I can go get breakfast, like go get a cup of coffee and some pancakes or waffles or something, and sit down and talk. And she called me and she's like, what do you really want though? And it's just like, I want to have coffee and eat some breakfast. I told her, I was just like, I really don't want, at least not the first few meetings, to rehash the past, because I feel like if we try to rehash the past on such shaky foundation, it's going to crumble immediately. And what did she do on the phone conversation? Immediately rehash everything that she held against me. That doesn't make me wrong. It's just her stuck in her feelings about shit. But she does not. She only wants to rehash the past about how she feels about things I do. She doesn't want to talk about her pulling guns on me. She doesn't want to talk about her writing murder on the mirrors while I was showering. She doesn't want to talk about all the insane shit she did behind my back with Dustin and my ex-husband and everybody. She doesn't want to talk about that. She doesn't want to talk about the actual truth. She just wants to blame me for everything. She wants to blame me because of her decision making when she was a fully grown 20-something adult. Because of how her and Andrew had to make money. I told her not to. You know, I sacrificed a lot for her to graduate high school and go to college and live with me. She chose that path. I did not choose it for her. And she wants to blame me for her decisions. And it's just like, you were a grown adult, sweetie. You know, you made that decision all by yourself. You made that decision behind my back. You and Dad took me to dinner to tell me what you were getting ready to do. And I was pissed about it. And it's just like, okay, you made those choices. I didn't. And I'm really sorry you have a really hard time accepting that I've worked my ass off my entire life and I pay taxes on a very low income my entire adult life. You know, the last year I was married was the most money I've ever made in my life, and that was with my ex-husband. And we did well, you know, we did well, but I mean, it's been a struggle since, for sure. And you know, we struggled up to that point. And if we'd stayed together, we probably would have been really, really great in the future. But we didn't. You know, but if me and him stayed together and we were still married at this point, we would probably be really well set. But we didn't, you know, because he and I don't know, if I went into paralegal work and got what I can fully command, I probably make more money than he does. Or we're probably neck and neck, but I probably make as much or more than he does as a paralegal. But yeah, I'm getting really tired. Like, asshole. He's just like, why don't you get a job at a gas station? And I was just like, if you mean, you know, job as girlfriend pouring gas on you and then lighting a match, sure, let's sign me up. Because that's not happening. And I told him to go ahead and get that pipe dream out of his head. That's not happening. That's not a factor. That's not a reality. I'll sit here and twiddle my thumbs until something comes along before I do that. Or I'll leave and go somewhere else, and some place that takes me for real and understands that I'm real. Because I'm about done fucking around with these idiots. And their idiot behavior. And yeah, the emails about the box cutters, unprofessional. Stupid, petty, childish, immature, crazy. I forwarded it to a lawyer. So, yeah, I did. I forwarded all those texts I've been getting. I sent them all to a lawyer. I forwarded the email to the lawyer. They're well aware of your all's unhinged situation. So on that note, I've been rewatching Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm in the middle of season 4. I wanted to give it a few seasons before I talked about it again. So Teresa's in the middle. She's in the middle of the bankruptcy going bad and the beginning of like jail talk. Like everybody talking about her going to jail. And you know, Jacqueline, I just watched the episode where Jacqueline is at her house and Teresa comes by and they sit it out and Jacqueline's like, are you going to jail? And she's like really upset and she's looking at a magazine spread, literally having Teresa's lawyer talking about her going to jail. And then she looks at Teresa in the face and she's like, are you going to jail? And Teresa's like, talk to my lawyer. Well, Jacqueline doesn't even ask her about Jill first. She asks her, she's like, what's going on with the bankruptcy? And Teresa's like, talk to my lawyer. So in collections law, bankruptcy law and collections law kind of go hand in hand in certain areas. So I actually know a lot about bankruptcy law. Am I a bankruptcy attorney? Absolutely not. I'm just saying I'm very well versed in bankruptcy law. And Teresa's right. Filing for bankruptcy is not the end of the world. It is a restart. It really is. And a lot of people have a misconception about that with bankruptcy, is like, they're an awful person, they were horrible, they were irresponsible. Usually if somebody has one bankruptcy their entire life under their belt, not likely the case. Life got them, unfortunately, because a lot of bankruptcy cases, you'll see the person swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming to the might of them trying to hold it back, and they have no choice but to file. They can't swim anymore. It's just they're drowning. Where people scare you is like, you see they have like 4 or 5 bankruptcies filed in their lifetime, and they're like 50 40 or 50. That is a red flag. So that's where you're like, okay, yeah, something's up there. Something's very seriously up there. That is not a fresh start. That is somebody clearly, they found loopholes in the system and they're using and abusing them. But one bankruptcy filed does not a irresponsible, awful person make. And like any bankruptcy lawyer would tell you, they'd be like, yeah, I mean, somebody that's filed one bankruptcy and they went on with the rest of their life and it never happened again. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's just life sometimes. Yeah, so I don't really, and when you work in it, you see what a mess really everybody is financially, because everybody's a mess financially. Everybody. And, you learn not to judge, because everybody's a fucking nightmare mess. Everybody. And I've been inside Pacer, sweetie. You do not want to see how many people have filed for bankruptcy. So, I've been inside Pacer many times, unfortunately. But, yeah, bankruptcy filings, I mean, there's a zillion of them. And trying to read those Pacer lines, oh God, your eyes literally cross. You're like, my magnifying glass. But, yeah, I mean, bankruptcy, Teresa is right about that. It's just a fresh start for most people. And depending on the type you file, what chapter you file, all that crap, is how things get paid back and things are done, But, like, I'm considering bankruptcy because I have a lot of medical debt, like crazy medical, because of my back, primarily my back. And, I was in a really fucked up situation because, I was being chased down and harassed so bad. So I was kind of like trying to run from Raider and all his crazy there for a minute after it all happened. So, like, it was just a really messed up life and medical situation. And it ended up me having a lot of medical debt. So I was just like, really my main option would probably be bankruptcy. So, I mean, and, if you're going to go ahead and file for the medical debt, you might as well lump in. I don't really have a whole lot of personal debt, No, I don't even have $10,000 in personal debt. So I would just lump it in, because you might as well at that point. I think they'd make me anyways. And, just clear it all out. And that's what I'm saying. Before the medical debt, I didn't even have $10K in personal debt. Like, that's how little I messed around with debt. So, because I'm a fucking legal collector. So, yeah, in my case, do I have a problem talking about that? No, because I mean, that's literally the situation. So, yeah. And really, honestly, yeah, I mean, I would probably get my bankruptcy more than likely, especially given the circumstances. And I can still go back and take Raider back to court, and then I can make the bankruptcy court go after him. So, yeah. I mean, like, Raider is in some legal shit. So is that girl that hit me with the car. Yeah, because I'm going to make the bankruptcy court go after her. So, you damn right. I didn't plan shit. I tried to play nice. I got a personal injury attorney. I tried to make her insurance pay out. You all played head games. And I'm going to show that bankruptcy court where you all fucked around with all that paperwork as well. She's in some deep shit. It's not funny. It's not a joke. I really work in law, and all you did was make your legal problems a fucking nightmare. And I can be beyond your worst nightmare about that. It's not funny. Your bullshit's not cute. And that's another thing, is like, I'm in a place where it's like, I'm getting really sick of everybody minimizing this horrifying shit I'm going through, and then you all get like a paper cut from life. Life gives you a paper cut, and you're just like, oh God, woe is me, everything's ending, oh my God, my life, oh God, it's all so awful. Oh my God, pity me. Or you do it to yourself, like that crazy bitch and her fake stillborn. But feel bad for me. I don't feel bad for you. You're crazy. You need to be in a psych ward and get medicated. Fuck off. Seriously. You did that to yourself because you're so fucked up in the head. So, talk about narcissism. God damn. Bitch is fucking out of her mind. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't call somebody like that out, that is that far down the shitter mentally, you get Texas Taylors, you get, mom screaming at 911, somebody's murdered my pregnant daughter and her baby's cut out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know what they say, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. So, yeah, what I'm doing is preventing it before it even goes there. I know you can't tell the future. She may never do it again. It may have never gone there, but, it's better to be safe than sorry, because, the world's only getting crazier. So, and I'm not a Pollyanna. I'm not like some goody-goody Pollyanna. I can handle white lies. I get everybody lies. I get everybody fibs. I get everybody fluffs themselves and all the rest of it. I get all that. I can handle all that. That's all fine with me. I'm not some like ultimate truth and facts all the time. Blah, blah, blah. No lip gloss ever. Because those people are grating. Those people are annoying as fuck. I get it. Trust me. I get, you see somebody in the grocery store, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm great, how are you? Even though, your house is burning down. I mean, it's just, I get it. It's just, there's some things you can't lie about. You know what I'm saying? There's just certain things you can't lie about. And that is one of them. Faking a stillborn is something you can't lie about. I mean, I can handle the social graces. I can handle the full white lies to some degree, but that is something you can't lie about. That is just crazy on a whole other level. It's depressing as fuck, too. Um, but I've digressed way too much. Real Housewives. So Caroline and Jacqueline are on Teresa. And yeah, Teresa's right. Most bankruptcies, especially first filings and hopefully only filings, yeah, it's a clean slate. It's just starting over. You know, you'd be surprised. Somebody files bankruptcy and once it's all charged off, you start getting credit offers out the wazoo. Seriously, there's creditors that are specifically for people that file bankruptcy, and they'll you'll get attacked by credit cards. You'll get attacked by creditors and all kinds of shit. Um, so, yeah, bankruptcy isn't the end of the world like people think it is. Now, if you filed like your fifth one and you're 45, you might be having some problems. Yeah. Like that's a major red flag. But no, I don't take one filing a bankruptcy for the red flag. It's not usually. Teresa's different because like if somebody sat me down and asked me about my bankruptcy and why, but I wouldn't really have a major problem because I talk about it here. I don't have a major problem talking about it. I wouldn't be like, ask my lawyer. I mean, the details, the deep details, even some of them I could give you because I'm a paralegal, but still, like the super deep details, I would be like, well, yeah, maybe we had to ask my lawyer about that. But, but I mean, the general gist of why I would be filing bankruptcy, I can easily talk about, and I wouldn't be all like, and I'm a paralegal. I wouldn't be all like, talk to my lawyer. A lawyer. So, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, whereas she's saying talk to my lawyer, and then she's got articles saying jail, and red flag sirens all around Teresa. Which, I mean, Jacqueline clearly saw. Jacqueline's not an idiot. She's not a paralegal. She doesn't work in law, but she's not an idiot. Anybody with 2 brain cells can be like, okay, the red flags are flashing all around you. I'm not asking you to go like line through line of your chapter 7 filing here, sweetie. I'm asking you to tell me what's going on generally. And people aren't idiots. I mean, that's the thing about people. A lot of people take people for dumber than they are. And I know better. I'm a legal collector. And I see people miraculously work the system like I've never seen before. And I'm like, how did you find that loophole? What the fuck, man? They find them. And it's just like, you could think somebody's the dumbest sack of bricks in the world, but everybody's smart about something. Everybody is smart about things. They have things they're smart about. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I guess depends on the person, but everybody's smart about something. And to play somebody for completely stupid, they'll turn you into an idiot so fast your head spins. Your hair spin right off. So, yeah, I rarely take somebody for being an idiot for real, like completely stupid. Can somebody be acting like an idiot or acting stupid? Sure, absolutely. But that doesn't mean they are stupid. There is a difference there. You can look at somebody and see, like, if, things are connecting between the brain cells. You can get a decent idea of somebody that's, things are working up top to some degree. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, Teresa, I mean, it's just like, the second she said, talk to my lawyer, that's a major red flag, because you should be able to talk about your bankruptcy in a general way, because it's not some top secret information. You know what I mean? It's a public filing, it's a public thing, so people are going to see it regardless. So I mean, people can pull your filing, take it to their lawyer, and their lawyer can explain everything. You'd have to pay their lawyer, but lawyers are gossipy. Lawyers are, oh my God, you have the tea. They're very, very much like that. And they would love to be paid for something like that. They would easily be paid for that. They'd be like, oh yeah, this is fun. So they would be more than happy to like go line through line and be like, oh yeah, she did this, she did that. Yeah. So if they really wanted to be that petty with her. So not many people are, but people can be really petty. They couldn't use it against her, but they could definitely, shut her down if she tried to lie to them or something. You know what I mean? As far as, and that's just it. It's just like, it's a bankruptcy filing. It's nothing. It's not nothing, but in terms of how she's making it sound, it's nothing. Because when you say talk to my lawyer, that means criminal. Automatically. And like, people aren't stupid. They know that. And like Teresa and Joe had already been to jail. He's already facing a bunch of crazy with his driver's license and all the rest of it. And it's just like, people aren't dumb. And, she says going away, and Melissa says jail, and Teresa storms off and can't handle. And then, they start pressing her about her shit. And are you going to jail? Talk to my lawyer. She did end up going to prison. So, and I remember when this was all coming out, we didn't know if she was going to prison yet. We were all still trying to figure out if she's going to jail or not, So it was all very dun, dun, dun. But, and then Caroline was sitting there, and she was just like, you've turned my whole family against me. And see, like, I have a lot of empathy for Caroline in that regard, because, like, my sisters have friends that I feel like they've helped fuel the fire of turning my family against me. Like, my sister's friends, like Tia and Lenona, Mindy, Courtney's, and, some other people. But definitely Tia, for sure, and Lenona some, but definitely Tia. And I would have no issue, because, like, I got, like, some crazy legal shit on Tia. Bad. Because she definitely helped my sister in her bullshit. For sure. Like, she has no way out. And, like, I would definitely have no issue sitting at a table with Tia and my sister and being like, look, I really feel like you seriously definitely poured fuel on a family fire that was none of your business, and inserted yourself in ways that you had no right to. And, you caused me and my family a lot more headache and problems than you ever should have. I'm not saying other people weren't involved, and like, my family should have been my family, and they should have known better, and they should have known that you put family before friends. Because like, it's not like I was the one running around with guns and writing murder on the mirrors. I was just trying to be a family member. I was trying to be divorced. I was trying to get a divorce. Getting divorced is extremely stressful, even in the best of circumstances. And all they did was make everything for me 1,000,000 times harder. And more complicated. And it's just like, listen, this is my divorce. And at the end of the day, it's me and Joe going to court, not anybody else. So, ironically enough, my ex-husband's name is Joe. So, because all the Joes in Real Housewives of New Jersey, especially the first many seasons. So, yeah, my ex-husband's name is Joe. My son is Eli Joseph. So, I gave birth to a Joe. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, and that's what I was trying to make clear to my family, was just like, listen, at the end of the day, it's me and Joe going to court, nobody else. And you all are inserting yourselves in ways into my marriage that you do not belong. I'm sorry, but the court does not care about anything you have to say or your opinion about anything to do with my marriage to Joe. And that's just the facts of it. I mean, I'm sorry that they have trouble swallowing that reality, but that is the reality, and there's no way around that. And their opinion does not matter. Don't get me wrong, my ex-husband, he did so much shady, crazy shit during the divorce and after the divorce. Like, I mean, he really can't be forgiven, because I used to see him one way, and after all that, I can never see him that way again. I can't, Like, I used to think of him like my hero, you know what I mean? Like, I used to think he was my hero. And like, I don't see him that way. And I mean, in a sense, I thought we were each other's heroes, because like, after everything I went through to bring our son into the world, and everything we went through together, because it wasn't, it was me and him living all around the world by ourselves. Our families weren't really involved. And, all we had was each other. And the way that we made that work so well, and we had all the odds against us, and we made it work, I thought we were each other's heroes. I'm not saying we were perfect, but, when you have a hero, you can tend to put them up on too high a pedestal and forget that they're human. But he didn't show me sides that were human. He showed me sides that were just shady and awful. And, I stopped caring about being his hero too. So yeah, I mean, like, season 3 is the introduction to Melissa and Kathy. I like Melissa and Kathy. Joe Giudice is running around calling Melissa Raccoon Face, which that whole Jimothy thing in Seattle is going around right now, like the Jimothy obsession, that little tiny raccoon. I was just like, and rewatching it and hearing them call her Raccoon Face, I was just like, well, she can be Jimothy, she can be a Seattle treasure, because I always really liked Melissa. So I was just like, she could be my Jimothy then. But I forgot that they call her Raccoon Face and stuff. So I've been calling Melissa Jimothy here lately. In the best of ways. I don't mean it negatively, because they were just trying to make fun of her. And I always thought Melissa got a really bad, rough rap. I haven't watched the later seasons very much, so I don't know how things are now. I'm just saying, the first many seasons of Melissa, she really had it rough with Teresa and Joe Gorga's family. So yeah, I mean, I love Melissa, and I love all her little poppy dance songs. I'm not really into that usually, but for her, I think it's cute. She's clearly very into it. She's clearly having a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really cute. I love it when a Real Housewife makes a song. It makes my life. So, yes. But, see, this is what I want to talk to lawyers about, is Real Housewives. Because I want to, like, pick a lawyer's brain apart, what they have to say, especially because they have very serious, real legal stuff going on. So I'd love to sit a lawyer down and be like, tell me the real tea. Give me all the info for real. But Yeah, because like I would definitely love to get drunk with a lawyer and pick apart, like pull up their legal case and pick it apart and see what's really going on. But see, like that's what I want to do. But I mean, work hard, play hard, baby. But yeah, I would definitely love to make lawyers watch Real Housewives because it's so funny. But the whole like Teresa thing, I mean, you know, I have the knowledge now that she ends up in prison. But going back and watching her, how she treats Caroline and Jacqueline and everybody in the whole situation, I mean, I guess she was scared, you know, and that is a scary thing to go through. And you don't know what's going on. And she has 4 kids, and it's her and her husband looking at down the barrel of that. And that is scary. And you don't want to talk about it. And the thing is like, it is hypocritical because she was selling the stories to magazines, but she can't sit down on the show that made her relevant to the magazines to begin with and talk to her friends that she was friends with before the show came along. And they came up together on the show. And she can't sit down and like level with them because that's just it. It's just like, I think Carolyn and Jacqueline would have stuck around and stayed her friend if she'd just been like, you know what, things aren't going so great. And I can't say too much because of the legal situation, but yeah, I mean, it's not going so hot and it's shaping up some type of way. You know, she didn't even have to like dig too deep, but she could have just like leveled with them on some level, you know, on just, you know what I mean? Because like even Jacqueline's just like, you know, is it just getting too deep? You know, is it getting too crazy? You know, are you really just hurting and you're just trying to put on a brave face? And you know, Teresa can admit that, you know, it clearly was, you know, so I mean, it all blew up in her face anyways. So, because this is an example of how I'll put it, how she's coming off. Like, if I was sitting down with 2 friends and 2 friends were just like, Lindsay, you gained weight. And I was sitting there like, no, I haven't gained weight when I clearly have. That's how she's coming off. You know what I mean? Even though the evidence is all right there, all the red flags are right there. You know? So it's just like, yeah, I mean that's how blatantly there's something wrong with her is and she's pretending it's not. And she's literally in magazines talking about jail, and she won't even admit it to her friends on the TV show that made her famous to begin with. It's baffling. I mean, she just has a complete disconnect from what the situation was. And looking back, seeing Joe Giudice, is it Giudice or Giudice? I'm not sure. I hear both. How he was talking to her. Now I get they were on a lot of stress, you know, because they were both facing prison time. So I get like they were both under crazy stress. But going back how he was talking to her and everything, and I'm sorry, even though Teresa was not a great friend to her friends of many years, you know. And I get it, you know, you can't always be a great friend when you're going through something that heavy, you know, but she wasn't like being real with them either. I'll say this, Teresa was ride or die for that man. She went to prison for that man, you know. She went to prison first because she had a lighter prison sentence, and she worked it out to make sure that she would go to prison first because hers was smaller, a shorter sentence. She was only gone for like a year and some change or something. And she worked it out that Joe could stay with the girls while she served, and then when she came out, he would go in. So the girls didn't have to go without a parent. I mean, she was ride or die for that family and her man. And, you know, for him to waste that of her, Because, I mean, she had 4 of his kids. You know, she loved him. She went to prison for him, you know? I mean, she sold her fucking life to that degree to magazine after magazine to make money for her family. You know, I mean, and that's embarrassing. You know, and, you know, she did all that just to make sure, like, food was on the table and all the rest. I mean, he had, like, legit ride or die out of that woman. And to see how he talks to her, to see how he treated her, and how it all ended. I mean, I do feel for Teresa about that. Because mine wasn't as extreme as that, far from it. But, you know, I get what it's like to be ride or die for a man, and it all blow up in your face. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, like, I've been there. My divorce was, yeah, I mean, I was ride or die for him. I gave up my career. I gave up everything for his career, because his career ate anything I would want to do alive. And because, you know, it's the military. When they tell you you have to leave and move, you have to leave and move. You have no choice. You know, and a lot of jobs aren't really great with you moving around a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I do feel for her in that. I really do. I feel like, you know, looking back so far, I mean, I'll have to watch some more seasons, obviously, up until the divorce, but looking back, you know, and I know it takes 2 to tango. I'm not saying she was perfect, but she really, I mean, she let him, you know, rip apart her family, rip apart her relationship with her brother, rip apart, I mean, he did nothing but badmouth her brother, you know, and rip apart everything. And, you know, she stood by him even against her own blood, you know, and wow. Now, I didn't stand by my husband against my own blood. He never really put me in that position very much, really. It definitely not to that degree. We didn't really, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was issues with each other's families, but we never really took it that far with each other's families. You know what I mean? So we were never really in that deep in that kind of positioning. But, yeah, I mean, I just really feel sorry for Teresa in that regard. At the same time, and yeah, I think if she had a better or different eyes of a lawyer on her case, you know, I think a lot of her fame and the rest of it made her case worse. You know, I think if she'd never been on the show and it all blew up in their face, I don't think Teresa would have went to prison. I think they would have forgiven her for signing what she signed and blah, blah, blah. Because I really do feel like Joe Giudice told her one thing and she signed it and it was really another. I think he pulled the wool over her eyes. But, you know, she was ride or die, so she wasn't going to sell her husband down the river. I mean, she ate it for her husband. And I think a big reason why all the craziness came up to begin with, like the ex-business partners and all the rest of it, was because she became famous. You know, I think they would have never taken it that far if they didn't were on a TV show. But, you know, Teresa, she's flashy, she's in your face, she's very spicy, you know, and she was flipping tables and screaming women were whores, and you know what I mean? And that can rub people the wrong way, you know, when you're out there flipping tables and screaming shit at people like that out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And, you know, and you're being that flashy about it, yeah, that can rub people the wrong way, and you can make enemies that you didn't even know were enemies, and they're behind your back. And, You know, they could have very well just set all that on her. I wouldn't have a doubt in my mind that that was very likely. So, does it mean she deserved prison time because somebody didn't like her behavior? I don't think so. I think that's insane. You know, and I really don't think she signed anything knowing full well what she was signing. I mean, I love Teresa. Don't get me wrong. I love them all. But she's not stupid. But she's definitely not the brightest bulb, especially about certain things in life. You know, and you know, she definitely she's very smart about being a Jersey girl. You know what I mean? Like, she's very good at being a Jersey girl. She is who she is. I'll give her that. Like, she's who she is through and through. You know, I believe that about her. Like, she's very good at being a Jersey girl. She is Jersey. You know, she's Jersey through and through. All those women are. But Teresa, for sure. Teresa and Melissa, Joe Gorga. Those people are Jersey through and through. In every cell of their body, they are New Jersey. But yeah, about certain things in life, she's not exactly smart. You know, like, I was watching an episode and she said Heckle and Jide instead of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. She called somebody Heckle and Jide instead of Jekyll and Hyde. I just couldn't stop laughing. I was just like, what did she say? It took me a second to, like, register it. I was like, wait, what? You know, she just say that? And she says, like, ingredients is, you know, it just, oh God. You know, she's not intellectual. You know, she's not somebody I would consider very intellectual. And that's fine. You know, that's, you know, I don't require somebody to be hyper intellectual to be my friend or be close to them or like them even. Him, the reason why I get mad at him is because I don't like dating somebody that isn't. That's a totally different ballgame, you know, because you have to live with the motherfucker. And it's just like, if you can't figure out a book or like a movie that I like to watch, you know, beyond fucking Transformers, we have problems. So, yeah, I mean, I need you to be able to talk to me about serious things going on in the world. I need you to talk to me about literature and anything real besides, you know, all your bullshit that you focused on for the last 20 years of your life, because it is just that bullshit. That's why your life ended up the way it did. And the fact that you don't realize that is baffling. But, and yeah, sure, Real Housewives is my guilty pleasure. It's my fluff. I don't care, you know, because all work and no play makes, you know, baby, you know, makes you a dull boy. Dull boy makes you a dull girl, you know? I mean, it really does. Because, I mean, if I just sat there and, like, recited Proust all day, that's boring. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's important to know, you know, it's important to have those kinds of things. And it's important to see the art gallery, new installation going on. And it's important to read this news article. It's important to read this book. It's important to see this new film noir, blah, blah, blah. I get all of it, and I love it, and I do that. But if you don't have something to cut through that level of, like, decadent intellectualization, it wears thin. You know what I mean? It can become, even though it's very profound, very deep, existential, oftentimes thought provoking, it can turn into something shallow if that's all you're about. Does that make sense? So Yeah, so sometimes you gotta cut through like the 90% bitter dark chocolate cake with a knife, a Real Housewives knife. So, I do. Yes. But I mean, he needs some bitter chocolate in his life. I'm definitely a big giant Hershey bar of dark bitter chocolate. That's for damn sure. But which he oftentimes spits out. He wants a Betty Crocker cake. But it's just like, no, baby, no. I'm gonna smother you with the dark chocolate. But uh, yeah, I mean, and I've even tried to get him to watch Real Housewives with me. I try to like bring it down to my level, and he's just like, no, no, I don't like this. And it's just like, you're gonna like something, damn it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, they brought in Kathy. I love Kathy. I mean, in season 4, she's taken a much bigger back burner. Season 3, there was a lot of friction between her and Teresa and their families. Now, they're still around, but they're not as upfront as they were in season 3. I'll have to see what happens next season. I can't remember the lineups, because it's been so many years. It's been so long. But, I mean, I think this or the next season is the last season for Jacqueline and Carolyn, for the Manzo and Loretta family. I think they're pretty much out of it after this next season or two. I think Jacqueline holds on for an extra season. I think she does try to hold on. If I'm remembering correctly, it's been so long. But yeah, I mean, within 5-6 seasons, the whole Manzo Loretta family's out of it. And the whole show was centered around them initially, pretty much, except for Teresa and Danielle. And it slowly has gravitated toward being towards more Teresa's family over the years. And really, Joe Gorga and there for a minute, Joe Giudice, they were both Real Housewives characters in and of themselves. I mean, they weren't like official Real Housewives, obviously, but they were, Real Housewives are 1A. Some of the Real Housewives husbands over the years have become 1B. Very, very quickly. But yeah, I mean, season 3, the whole like unattended cat. She was unattended. Don't do that. Don't go there, cat. And all that. And